Welding can be a little bit confusing. It's also a bit of a confusion point. How do you choose what the right process is for the job that you want to do? You don't know much about welding and you want to go and start. You turn up at the shop and what process do you do? One of the most common processes is MIG welding. So this is a roll of MIG wire. Basically wire wound on a spool. It's drawn down to particular sizes and it's the most easiest process to start welding. So what happens is the wire is loaded into an electric MIG welding machine. It's fed off and pushed down into a MIG gun. Pull the trigger on the MIG gun and it completes the circuit. Once you've got your earth lead attached, of course, this wire is fused into the metal and that's what joins the two pieces of metal together. It's the most simplest. Another way that you can join metal together is with welding electrodes. So this is known as a stick welding process. Also quite simple. You've got a welding machine with an electrode holder and an earth lead. The electrode is clamped inside the electrode holder. You strike the arc or strike a match on the two pieces of metal that you want to join. Like a sparkler, I guess. We've all used sparklers. These electrodes, they burn up and they burn away. There's flux inside and what the flux does is it keeps the air out of the weld so you don't get any porosity or holes in your weld. This metal is filling in and joining the two pieces of metal together, quite simple. Great for just tacking up a bracket or very simple process, you don't need any gas, very easy to do. TIG welding is where you've got a TIG torch, it's creating a molten pool of metal. And then what you do with these TIG rods is you feed the filler wire into the molten pool. So it's probably more of a professional type process. So where you want to really control the heat in the weld. So it's usually used on stainless steel exhausts, commercial kitchens, so where you're either using very thin plate and you don't want to burn holes in it, you can control the amperage, and that's what the TIG welding process is. Another process that's quite common these days is plasma cutting. Plasma cutting has in a way replaced oxyacetylene cutting. It's much cheaper to run a plasma cutter than it is to run an oxyacetylene cutting process. It's an electric machine, you've got a plasma torch, it's basically point and shoot. You pull the trigger, there's compressed air that pushes through, it joins with an electric arc, creates a plasma arc and it pretty much just slices through sheet metal like butter. Really impressive what a 240 volt machine can do these days, can cut up to 18 millimeters. Plasma cutters are really handy to have around the workshop just because they're so simple to use. You can use them for a lot of applications like cutting up thin sheet metal or even 8, 10, 12 millimeter plate. Very simple. It's pretty much just grab it, plug it in and away you go. Oxyacetylene process or an oxy LPG process. So what happens is the device, being the cutting or the brazing torch, creates a molten pool and then the metal melts. Similar to a TIG process, if you're brazing, you're joining an external filler rod and building up the material and building up the weld joint. And then if you're cutting, you're creating a molten pool and then by pressing the lever, pumping in more oxygen, it's blowing through the metal and cutting away the metal. Quite common.